The shows are called Ben 10 and Invincible. Not Gwen, not Eve, and that one title decision explains everything that went wrong with two of the most powerful characters ever written. Same pink powers, same insane potential, same fate. Standing behind a man, looking worried, occasionally throwing a shield. Today, we're starting a new series, Wasted Potential. And we're opening with these two because their stories aren't just similar, they're identical. And by the end of this video, you're gonna see exactly why. Classic Ben 10? Gwen is 10 years old. No real powers yet, just a spell book she stole from the villain. With that stolen book, she's doing telekinesis, levitation, tornadoes, shields, energy blasts. Self-taught, no training arc, figuring it out in real time on a road trip with her annoying cousin. Then Lucky Girl happens. The charms of Bezel land in her hands and she becomes so broken, overpowered that the writers had to physically destroy the charms to balance the story. They deleted the item because Gwen with it was too much. And without any of that, just the borrowed spellbook and karate training, she went toe-to-toe with Charmcaster, a trained teenage sorceress, as a literal 10-year-old child. Then the show gives us a glimpse of the future. In the episode Ben 10,000, 30-year-old Gwendolyn has new charms custom-made for her, surpassed both Charmcaster and Hex in magic, becoming one of the most powerful magic users in the universe. That's the ceiling. That's what Gwen was building toward. But even in Classic, before Alien Force even began, the writers were already showing you exactly what they planned to do with her. In the Ben 10,000 episode, future Gwendolyn shows up with 20 extra years of training, custom charms, having surpassed literal gods of magic. And what does she do? Stand next to Ben 10,000. She has charms that can manipulate probability, resurrect the dead, control fire, and she's making shields. In the future, after becoming the greatest magic user in the universe. The shield addiction started before Alien Force, and Alien Force made it a full-time job. Alien Force arrives. Gwen discovers she's an anodite, pure living mana energy. Her grandmother Verdona, in that form, was casual, untouchable, playing with the main trio like toys. There's even a moment in Alien Force where Gwen releases her anodite form. Kevin has to physically pull her back before she loses herself entirely. The show touched the ceiling, panicked, and immediately plastered it over. Because in Classic, her power set was genuinely creative. She was a wizard with an expanding arsenal. Then Alien Force Season 1 ends and all of that collapses into one thing: mana constructs. Energy blasts, shields, bigger shields, a platform, an energy ball, another shield. She became a budget Green Lantern. The wizard who bent reality with a stolen spellbook became someone who made stepping stones for Ben to stand on. And then they handed her the most insulting episode in the entire franchise. Ultimate Alien Season 1, Episode 3. Divide and Conquer. Ben gets Volcanus, Kevin gets Charmcaster, Gwen's personal rival since childhood, and Gwen gets some bozo. Charmcaster ambushes Gwen first. Sandra gets kidnapped, and Gwen ends up tied with circus streamers at Zombozo's lair. When she breaks free, she goes full anodite and uses it to scare the weakest villain in the franchise. A guy 10-year-old Ben defeated while scared of clowns. Kevin beats Charmcaster with a Ferris wheel. Gwen scares a clown. 10 years of rivalry between Gwen and Charmcaster, handed to the boyfriend. In Omniverse, Gwen goes to college and basically exits the show. Occasional cameos, background appearances. The girl destined to become the greatest magic user in the universe. Written out so her college schedule didn't conflict with Ben's alien fights. No proper send-off. She just stopped showing up. But here's what makes it sting. They proved they knew how to write her once. Ultimate Alien episode, it's not easy being Gwen.
one of the highest rated episodes in the entire series. A full Spider-Man arc for Gwen, balancing school, family, relationships, and superhero life all in one day. No Ben, no Kevin, just Gwen. Fans loved it. Ratings proved it. Writers had the data right in front of them and went straight back to S.H.I.E.L.D.'s. One episode proved it worked, never did it again. Gwen's decline was slow, death by 1,000 bad decisions across multiple series. But Adam Eve's story is different, because her writers actually gave her a perfect origin, and then immediately forgot they wrote it.
Show and special only here. No comic spoilers, you're welcome. The Adam Eve special. Same showrunner, same universe, counting it as canon. Young Eve was genuinely terrifying. Matter manipulation at the subatomic level, restructuring anything molecularly, and even with the mental block already installed from birth, preventing her from using powers on living beings, she was reshaping entire battlefields mid-fight, building herself armor from nothing, changing the arena itself to work in her favor, thinking 3 moves ahead while physically outmatched against brothers engineered specifically to beat her. Restrained, caged from birth, and still terrifying. The special showed you exactly what Eve's floor looks like. Her ceiling is something else entirely.
In the main show, Eve actually starts strong. She holds her own, shows creativity, uses her powers intelligently. Take Powerplex, a villain Invincible himself struggles against. Eve simply restrains him with her powers. Clean, effortless. That's the version of Eve the show promised. Then the Invincible war hits. Multiverse variants of Invincible tearing the world apart. Eve fights alongside Invincible against 2 variants at once and holds her own. But then something shifts. She goes defensive, full shield constructs. The same Eve who earlier trapped Multipol in an entire cell she built around him, suddenly just holding shields while the world ends around her. Then she gets injured. Goes to bed, Invincible finishes the war. Then, Conquest arrives. And this is the closest the show gets to the Eve from the special. She shows up to help Mark, and when Conquest turns on her, she actually fights. She chokes him with a bubble around his head. Creative? Effective. Conquest destroys it. But she can spam that. She could just keep doing it. Instead, she switches back to shields, and Conquest stabs her. Near death, the mental block shatters. Her powers explode outward. Burns Conquest's skin clean down to the muscle. Invincible finishes the job. And later, when Conquest returns, he gives Eve the credit for his defeat, not Mark. That moment is incredible. But notice what it took. She had to almost die to access 3 seconds of her real power. Then Season 5, she loses her powers temporarily while pregnant. Off-screened, reduced to Mark's emotional support while the show moves on without her. At least Gwen got to scare a clown. And look, Eve isn't fully wasted. Not yet. The potential is still there. Season 6 could change everything. But right now, the most creative fighter in the show's history is sitting on the sidelines hoping the writers remember what she can do.
The shows are called Ben 10 and Invincible. Not Gwen, not Eve. Everyone else exists to make those 2 look good. That's the whole answer. But here's what both of them had that the writers threw away. A villain that was specifically their problem. Not the protagonist's villain. Theirs alone. Classic Gwen had Charmcaster. Ben couldn't solve it, only Gwen could. Young Eve had her brothers, engineered to counter her specifically, so she had no choice but to push past every limit, even caged from birth. The moment both became support characters, those personal rivalries disappeared. And without that pressure, without a threat only they could handle, the writers had no reason to let them grow. The fix is simple. Give Gwen a full arc against Charmcaster. No Ben, no Kevin, just those 2 escalating across multiple episodes, settling 10 years of history. That story writes itself, and it finally gives us the Gwen that Classic spent 3 seasons building toward. Give Eve a villain Mark cannot fight. Not won't, cannot. His power set is useless. So Eve has to solve it alone, creatively, desperately, the way she did as a kid with the block fully in place. She already proved she can. The show just stopped asking her to. They didn't need new story. They needed writers who weren't afraid to let them finish one. That's my take on 2 of the most wasted characters in fiction. Drop yours in the comments. Do you agree? Did I miss something? Is there a moment that should have been here? If you want wasted potential as a full series, 1,000 likes and we keep this going. Every character,
every franchise, every bad writing decision that deserved better. Subscribe if you're new because we are just getting started. Comment who you want next. The list is long. Until then, Rydan, signing off.